Greetings, fellow Earthlings and viewers across the World Wide Web. This is Toon 215, and right now we're in the state of Pennsylvania. We're currently in the city of Philadelphia. Today we're going to be doing a drive-through of the Kensington neighborhood. Right now we're approaching one of what is said to be the most dangerous intersections in America. This is a very popular corner. This is possibly one of the most YouTubed intersections in the world. Kensington has become some sort of circus attraction where dozens upon dozens of content creators come from all over the globe to document this intersection. Right now we're at the intersection of Kensington and Allegheny. This is the 3100 block of North Kensington Ave. We're crossing Kensington Ave. We're passing Shelbourne. We're capturing footage in 4K resolution, so make sure to adjust your YouTube browser settings so you can experience it in the best video quality possible. We're approaching G Street. I'm gonna go around the block. We're gonna make this left-hand turn on Weymouth. Notice that the sidewalks, they're painted red, white, and blue. So this is a residential 2-story block. You have 2-story homes, very little sidewalks, very little parking. The vehicle on my right is sideswiped. And I completely understand why, because of small blocks like this. You have a nice pothole over here on my left. Let me try to avoid it. Okay, we're approaching Clearfield. We're gonna go around the block and then I'm gonna take you guys through some of the side blocks so we can see what the activity is looking like today. Today's high was 49 degrees. It's about to be sundown. It's getting dark as we speak. All right, we're on West, I believe, Clearfield. We're passing Reach Street, Reach, as in reach for the stars. All right, I'm gonna make this right-hand turn on Kensington Ave. No turn on red, so we're gonna wait here patiently. Alright, we're gonna take this because I don't know if this light is functioning accordingly, but I don't want to wait there at that intersection too long. So we're gonna go straight about another block and then make a left and then come right back up Kensington Ave. And we'll dip through some of these tiny blocks. We're traveling about 17 miles per hour. This is the prevention point over here on my left-hand side. Let's make this left-hand turn. We're going to allow these pedestrians to cross. Pedestrians have the right of way, never forget it. Let's turn left. Going over the speed bump very slowly. I'm gonna make this right and I'm gonna go all the way around the block, come back around. Just cause there's another series of speed bumps that they put in this neighborhood. As you can see, even in front of us, there's more speed bumps. I'm not a huge fan of speed bumps, but I understand their purpose. Their purpose is to slow down traffic, to protect the pedestrians like children and stuff. This neighborhood usually has a lot of hit and run casualties. You had a tent over here on my left-hand side. Inside that lot, there was a makeshift tent out of a blue vinyl tarp, one of those tarps that they sell at Home Depot. Oh, check this out. Cops over there, too. I'm going to make a right, though. I'm going to come back around Kensington Avenue. Now, this is all part of the Kensington neighborhood. Make note. Kensington spans a couple, I would say, dozen blocks square. And we're in North Kensington, Upper Kensington. You have West Kensington, East Kensington, and South Kensington, AKA Old Kensington. Oh, we got the Rocky block right here in front of us. How about we do that? How about we go straight? We go right through the Rocky block. Let me be cautious because traffic. Ooh, there goes a car, you see? Traffic. We're gonna go right through here. We can pass the house where they filmed Rocky at. You see this giant loft warehouse on our left? That was abandoned for many years and they just repurposed it. You see how they put the vinyl siding? Sorry. 6 stories, 5-6 stories. It was one of those old warehouses. And since it was abandoned, they ended up, oh, look at that, jacked up, missing the rims. They stole the Acura rims from that MDX. I believe that was an Acura MDX. We're gonna make this right-hand turn. You have a house over here on my left-hand side, 1813, then 1815. Right here on the left-hand side is where Rocky was shot at. Okay, we're at Tusculum and Kensington. Tusculum and Kensington Ave. We're gonna make this right. We're making a right-hand turn, traveling northbound on Kensington Ave. Behind us is eastbound, in front of us is westbound, on our left is southbound. We got another car, and then we're gonna be able to make this right. That used lawnmower business has been there for quite some time. Very interesting because there's not many lawns, at least in the north side. In the northeast, there's lawns, but in North Philly, South Philly, some parts of West Philly, there's very little lawns. So I don't really know if the lawnmowers are necessary. All right, we're passing Somerset. They shot some of the Rocky movie on this corner too. So these cars are just gonna block the street. We're stuck at the intersection for a minute. Around here, people just walk into the street like they have a bumper, and then they'll block traffic and cause a delay. Passing Hart Lane. You had somebody scavenging through trash. We just drove by somebody scavenging through trash. I'm not sure what they were looking for. If they were looking for food or maybe substances, needles, things of that nature. Sometimes they repurpose needles even though they're not supposed to repurpose needles because you have a chance of contracting several diseases such as HIV, AIDS, and hepatitis are some of the few that you can name. There's a cop turning over here on my left, and then we just passed a cop on my right. There's actually a cop station right here on my right-hand side next to us. You can't see him because it's off of camera. But they have a fair amount of, let's make this left here, just because I want to see this fire they got going on. They have a fire out here, guys. Check that out. I guess you got to stay warm, right? The only thing that I don't see as making sense is, if you're going to live out there, why have all that trash on the floor and just sweep it up? You know, if you're going to live out there, you're going to build your little tent and make a little fire, you might as well sweep it up and make it look presentable. You know what I mean? It's no fun sitting there and you sitting in a pile of trash. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense. I think it's backwards. Okay, let's continue moving forward. We're gonna go past McPherson Square. We have McPherson Square on my right-hand side. It's off camera, but I'm just letting you know that we're passing McPherson Square. We're gonna go up about another block and make a right on Allegheny. All right, we're at Clearfield. Ian Clearfield. Punch buggy, no punch back. Punch whoever next to you. Your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, your niece, your nephew, your neighbor. Text somebody and send them the fist emoji. We're passing Clementine. Wow, pothole. Skirt, skirt. Passing Lippincott. Now, if you're an officer patrolling this neighborhood and you see somebody swerving in front of you, be warned. They're probably not drunk. They're trying to avoid potholes. Wow, I just seen a tag on my right. Comer. Comer? Is that what it says? Comer, but why I'm shocked is because they wrote the squad VHS next to it, which is Vicious Hand Styles. That's what VHS stands for in graffiti world. One of my homies was one of the early entrepreneurs of, or he was one of the first founders of that writing group, Pika. Pika. P-E-K-A, Pika. Oh wow, this truck is taking years to make a right. And that block is so tiny. Must suck to navigate through it with a large vehicle like that. But don't get it twisted, it's possible. I remember when I used to ride ice cream trucks, I used to drive the Mr. Softy ice cream trucks and all that stuff. I used to go through this neighborhood. The money-making neighborhoods were like Fairhill, Kensington, all the Kensingtons, Hartranft, Hunting Park, Juniata, like, you know, like this little northern area. You could go to Glenwood and all that, but the North Philadelphia eastern section, right when you cross Broad going right on Lehigh, Broad and Lehigh, you make a right, that whole little cluster, that's where I used to cover. And I remember some blocks were so tiny. I remember one time in this neighborhood, I had went through like 2 or 3 little tiny blocks, right? Like, I think on my left, like right here on Tampa. I had to turn through like 2 or 3 tiny blocks to get the ice cream truck to that little tiny block. Then when I got there, I don't know why they didn't close it sooner, but there was cones, there was a children's pool in the street, there was all this stuff. They was having a block party. So guess what I had to do? Reverse. Yes, I had to reverse this ice cream truck. Mind you, I was probably like 16 years old, but my whip game always been on 100. And I reversed that gigantic ice cream truck through 2.5, almost 3 blocks just to get out. Because they definitely wasn't gonna lift up their pool. And they was looking at me like I was crazy, but I'm in my head like, yo, but why did you guys leave the block open? You should have put cones way before I got here. And that's the mentality of some of the residents in the area. Like if you double park, they're gonna rush you. But don't you dare rush someone that's double parked. You know what I mean? If they're in the street talking to someone, don't you dare rush them, because you might get into a problem. But if you're double parked and you're talking to someone or you're unloading, you might get a beep or you might get some unhappy campers. All right, we're on G Street, G in Allegheny. Coming up is the intersection too, where a police officer was shot. What was he shot in his arm? It actually happened the same day that I lost my lifelong friend, Walter Scott Rosebarrow III. Yeah, on November 7th, 2018. Well, This whole entire intersection right here had like 20 cops. There was helicopters. It was on the news. There was this whole situation where a cop was shot. I think he was shot in the leg or something. It happened right here on my right hand side. But they closed down this whole area, like 5 blocks square. They wasn't allowing that to happen. All right, guys, so we're approaching the intersection of Kensington and Allegheny once again. Got a bunch of cops. You see all those cops? So surprisingly, there is a heavy police presence today, but that doesn't stop all the activity. There's still plenty of people shooting up right out in the open. But next to O Block, I would think this would probably be one of the most documented neighborhoods, or AKA hoods, Kensington. Because O Block is a pretty popular tourist attraction, surprisingly. O Block was made popular by rappers Chief Keef, Lil Durk, rest in peace King Von. Well, a lot of people go there to document footage. I myself also visited O Block, at least the outside, because it was locked. It's a apartment complex at the Parkway Garden Homes. It's a privately owned low-income apartment complex on the border of Woodlawn and Washington in Chicago. Well, that place is an area that is also very, very popular for people traveling to document it. Let's make this right hand turn on Jasper Street. All right, another speed bump. I think Kensington now is the neighborhood with the most speed bumps. Look at, there's a rest in peace memorial on the corner on my left. You see it? They spray painted on that building. Yo, I think Kensington now has, at least North Kensington, because it ain't the same in West or East Kensington or Old Kensington. But in this part of Kensington, literally, there's probably the most speed bumps in this neighborhood. And that was all installed within the last year, because it wasn't always like that. All right, they just dropped somebody off. As you can see, they had a double park. But this Volkswagen Tiguan in front of me and myself wasn't impatient, so we allowed them to go. Look at this person parked on the sidewalk. You gotta park by all means, right? And that's why they put the poles. You see those poles? Those poles were put there to prevent people from parking on the sidewalk. Imagine coming outside your home and then your sidewalk is unaccessible because there's a car parked on it. You know what I mean? You come straight out from your step, and that's happened, especially in like some of these little blocks. You come out of a 2-story home and then there's a car parked right in front of your steps. All right, we're at Wishart Street. There was actually a handful of shootings here at this specific little tiny block. And Kensington, Wishart and Kensington, and the one on my left. There's been a few shootings in this area. There's been plenty of carjackings too. It seems like within the last 3 years, carjackings went up here, shootings went up here, obviously open air usage went up here. Documentation of the neighborhood went up here. Visitors, we have more visitors than we've ever had in the area, who come from all walks of life. On the left, there's a police camera up top of the pole. Is this vehicle going to move forward any day now? I gotta give them like a motivational beep so they can beep, beep, move forward. You got a gentleman and a female wobbling along. We got the bus in front of us. Hey, that rhymes. We got the bus in front of us. All right. I think I shall go. I can go right. I can go left. I can go left. I can go right. Nah, let me go right. Tons and tons of traffic. Now, normally on my left-hand side, right in front of this Cricket store, or what used to be a Cricket store, I think there's an eye exam business there too. There's normally tons and tons of individuals out there shooting up at all sorts of strange spots of their body. I've seen some pretty strange spots where people shoot up. I've seen the forehead, the armpit, obviously the foot, different parts of the leg, the stomach. I think I've seen somebody shoot up near the ear. These random things. And where did I witness that? Here, outside in the open. They don't have no discretion. You know how they say viewer discretion is advised? Well, when you come through Kensington, viewer discretion is advised in real life. If you're sensitive, if you have a weak stomach, this might not be the tourist attraction for you. For some people, it's a tourist attraction. For some people, it's a moneymaker. For others, it's home. Man, there's a bus right here. It's kind of hard not to be impatient when we've been at this intersection for a good 45 seconds. You know what I mean? Kind of a long time to be at an intersection, doing absolutely nothing. All right. Let's go around the block. We're traveling northbound on Kensington Ave. You're gonna see a beautiful mural that they added recently. Look at another cop passing Madison. There's a beautiful mural right here that says Kensington, and it has a little boy with a camera. Man, that's awesome. I'm happy they started adding more color to this avenue. There's been several mural projects throughout the years, and that's beautiful. You see it? That's decent. And there's a bunch of kids and everything. We're passing Willard Street. We're at Kensington and Westmoreland. Now remember I was telling you guys about how there's a lot of Kensington businesses that opened up within the last 3-4 years that utilize the name Kensington on their new signage. A lot of those businesses are smoke shops. Guess what a lot of those smoke shops sell? The little rose tubes that one may utilize to smoke. Oh, look at, he willied, and look who's behind him. The cop. Look at. We got it on camera. You see that, right? You see that lawlessness that goes on under here? It's literally like the Wild Wild West. As a police officer, you probably got a new gray hair called Kensington. If this is your beat, if this is your route, boy, are you stressed. It's either that or you just couldn't care less and you just like, you know what I mean? You like live it for, you're like, whatever. It's cool. Like, it ain't even that big of a deal, right? I was gonna go left, but I'm gonna go right just because I don't feel like getting caught in traffic, man. Traffic is insane. I guess because sun's going down, it's about to be rush hour, you know, people getting out of work and all that stuff. Man. I try to keep these flowing so you're not at a standstill too long. All right, we're gonna make a right, and then we'll make another right again, and then we'll go down Kensington Ave, traveling southbound. Now let's make this right hand turn around Ontario. My mom actually used to live over here on the right-hand side too, on Malta Street. So now that I think about it, in this neighborhood, my mom lived, so if you're new to the channel, I wasn't raised with my mom, I was raised with my pop. I was born and raised in the Kensington neighborhood, but my mom and my pop split up when I was 2, so my pop raised me. My mom moved throughout the city, so I used to visit her, you know, growing up, but she wasn't the head of household. She wasn't the one that raised me, my pop was. So when I used to visit her, I used to go to different homes, you know, when she used to move to different homes. So from this little area, I can recall she lived on Willard Street, which is around the corner, Westmoreland Street, which is around the corner, Custer Street, which is around the corner, Malta, we just passed Malta Street, which is around the corner. She lived on Frankfurt, around the corner, on like 2-3 blocks. Matter of fact, like Frankfurt, And what is that? What is that? Is that Frankfurt and Clearfield? No. She didn't live on Frankfurt Clearfield, like 2 or 3 blocks before that. Right after Somerset. I can't think of the little teeny block, but she lived in a good amount of homes in this area. All right, we're at Kensington Ave and Westmoreland Ave. Kensington and Westmoreland. This gentleman right here in front of us, he has a Corona. You see how he got a Corona in his hand? He's on his bicycle with a Corona. Sorry, buddy. There was a gentleman over here on my left who he was waving $1 in front of the window. I don't know exactly if he was signifying, can you give me some money, sir? Which he was holding a couple loose dollars in his hand. Or if he needed change or whatever the case was, but you might want to think twice before rolling down your window in this neighborhood. Now me, personally, half the time, I don't mind, you know. If I have it, I'll give it, but it'll probably go from your hand to their hand, come up here, and go into the dealer's hand. That's a bad real world analogy, but that's the truth. Look at another cop. Wow. Cops are showing out today. Goes to show you they are showing out. Remember, we're capturing footage in 4K Ultra HD. Make sure to adjust your YouTube browser settings. Click the little gear wheel. That gear wheel is gonna access a drop-down menu. Then you'll click the video resolution and you can put it up as high as 4K. Now make note, in order to watch 4K smoothly, you gotta have some fast internet. So if you put it on 4K and your device or your computer starts buffering, that means that your internet's too slow. So just watch it on regular 1080. 1080 would do well. Okay, we're gonna continue moving forward. It's a lot of traffic. It's probably not the most ideal time to drive through here. Now, remember I mentioned earlier that, is this the most YouTubed neighborhood and or intersection? This is an area where many people come to document, and many of them don't do what I do. Many of them don't allow the raw footage to roll, like when we're at the intersections. They don't do the small talk. I don't watch all of the channels, but I have been recommended a handful. And to my knowledge, many of them just chop up the highlights and focus on all the physical activity. So there'll be a lot of jump cutting from corner to corner. But if you're not from here, you really can't put the puzzle together. You're getting provided all these pieces, but you can't make sense of the environment. A lot of people see this area, and if they're not from Philadelphia, they have the impression that the entire city of Philadelphia, all 144 plus square miles of Philadelphia, it looks like this. But in all reality, this little strip right here is less than a half a mile. This little strip. One little strip, less than a half a mile. This is the only strip in Philadelphia where this goes down at. All right, we just passed Kensington and Allegheny once again. We're traveling relatively slow. I'm gonna turn on the wiper because we got some moisturizement on the windshield. The train tracks above us were dripping water. It was dripping some water, so. Let's make this right-hand turn. We're on G Street. Now we're gonna make another right on Potter Street. This is the 3100 block of Potter Street. I feel like I still got some type of moisture on my front windshield. That probably means that I'm gonna need to replace the left wiper soon. because I still see a little bit of moisture. Yeah, you got a cop right here on the corner. You see you got the lights on, but then you got groups out here. You got different groups. They huddle up and they do what they do out in the open. Another cop right here. That's a whole different cop. So in my field of view, there's about 3 or 4 cops in my field of view. Okay, let's see. They have a red light. They're gonna let me go? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, there was the mass shooting was right here next to the club on our left-hand side. And there was somebody that passed away named Joe Trapper. Long live Joe Trapper, 19134. Rest in peace, buddy. They have a memorial for him out there. Right there in front of us, you see that check cash, that red check cash, the red awning? On the right, you see that Esperanza Health Center? That's the little block right there where the lady pulled a little handgun out her purse. She walked up, and that video's still on YouTube, and she shoots him and then crosses the street and walks back. Shoots him, like nonchalantly. Pow, pow, or I think she did a pow. Pew, pew. And just walked away. Walked away. That was a very, very brazen attack. Let's make this left on Shelbourne. All right, I went through this block, and this block was actually quite horrible when it came for traffic. I actually went through a huge pothole here, so I'm gonna be cautious not to go through the same exact pothole twice. Oh man, yeah, this is bad. You pay attention to, wow. Okay. Sorry guys, I have to think about this accordingly. I'm gonna go through this pothole and it's gonna scrape big time. What's up, buddy? Thank you, buddy. You gave me a thumbs up. All right, I got over that. Wow, look at this pothole right here on the ground, right here on my left. Look at that. Look at that crater in the ground. But then again, you've never been to Jackson, Mississippi, or you've never been to New Orleans, Louisiana. Imagine the whole entire city like that. That's New Orleans. New Orleans, wow, a lot of the city, the roadways, but then again, you gotta think about it. It's the same level as the sea, and when they get flooding and all that stuff, they really go through it. They really, really go through it during hurricane season and all of that. So their streets are, I mean, horrible, beyond horrible. Actually, New Orleans, Louisiana was where my smart car began to have issues. I don't know if it had to do with the roadways, but I did go through some of the worst blocks of my life. Some of the worst blocks of my life, ladies and gentlemen. And Jackson, Mississippi. All right, so there's a bunch of traffic here. I don't know exactly what's happening. Come on, buddy. You're more than welcome to go. So we're on Westmoreland. Let's make this left. Is anybody gonna let me go? Thank you. Thank you. You're so kind. I'm a beep. Thank you very much, man. You see, very few people actually allow you to go without rushing you. You know what I mean? Oh wow, smart car. I used to have one just like that. You remember? Remember I took that across the country, same color and all. Yeah, definitely. Actually, the next block my mom used to live on. G in Westmoreland. Yeah, we gotta wait here. Light turns green and then we can move forward. We're at G in Westmoreland. We're gonna continue traveling westbound on Westmoreland. Ouch. Yeah, my mom's house was this 3-story one right here. Boom. This one with the white porch right here on the left with the lot next to it. It didn't have a lot back in the day. There used to be a house there, but I guess it burned down. It's starting to get dark, as you can see. Okay, I'm going to continue moving forward. And I'm gonna show you guys another crazy block that's on the outskirts of Kensington, right before you get to the Fairhill neighborhood. Actually, I think it would probably, yeah, it's on the outskirts of Kensington. It can be classified as the outskirts of Kensington because B Street separates Fairhill from the Kensington neighborhood. So we're gonna go right by B Street, and there's a block that had similar activity for many years. They tried to curtail it recently by installing some chain link fence around a park where a lot of people were shooting up at. But let's go take a look at it. We're passing E and West. That's a popular Chinese store. If you know, then you know. Passing Hartville. Shout out to Old Dollars. Old Dollars. I shot a music video in this neighborhood for the homie. All right, we're at Roarer. Right now we are traveling westbound on Westmoreland. So I had a buddy in high school. His name was Wilson, class of 2006. He was light-skinned. His pop was killed on this block on A, which is right up the block. We're on D in Westmoreland. His pop was killed on A in Westmoreland, like 10, 15 years before he passed away. Then after we graduated, I hear a couple years later, he got killed right here on this corner. Yep. So he died on the same block that his pop died. His name was Wilson. This park on my right, this playground, this is McVeigh, right? There was recently a shooting there. Somebody was shot on the basketball court. Yeah, they shot him on the basketball court. I don't know if it was like over a game or if it was beef or something, but they shot him on the basketball court, y'all. All right, I'm gonna make this left on C Street. The next block coming up, at least the next main one, will be B Street, and that's what's gonna separate the boundary lines that we were talking about earlier. This factory right here, I went in it once or twice. It was abandoned. When I went in it, there was a bunch of people shooting up in it, and I didn't expect that. But I did go in it before. They closed it down, and they're repurposing it. They're repurposing it, and yep. I see Zebo. I see you, Zebo. Zebo really been putting in that work. Zebo's a Philadelphia graffiti artist, up and coming graffiti artist, part of the new generation. But that doesn't take away from the amount of effort that he's been putting in to get his name out there. Literally the other day, I was on a block and I saw one of his fire extinguisher tags up on a wall, huge, probably 10, 15 feet. Then I look to my right, then I see one of his bubble letters. Then there's a box truck driving by, an actual physical vehicle. Look at, oh, you can't see, there's another cop on my right. There's another, there's a vehicle driving by, a box truck, and his name was in the back of the box truck. So like literally in like one block, his name was at 3 different spots, including Moving Reputation. Moving Rep is some of the best rep. There was a strike force unit on my right. There's a couple cops in the neighborhood. There's another one on the next corner. Ooh. And there's one right here. Ooh. Y'all can't see him. The one right in front of us just actually drove off. There's one on my right. Yo, we just passed 2 or 3 cops. Yo, there's another cop right behind me. Is he gonna pull me over? You wanna pull me over, buddy? Pull me over. You wanna pull me over? Go ahead. Go ahead, pull me over. All right. I wanted to make sure. You want to pull me over? No? Sure? All right. Thought you wanted to be on Candy Cam. There's more cops behind me coming, so something just popped off. Y'all told you there was cops everywhere. Y'all wasn't believing me. Y'all like, no, Toon. There ain't no cops. No, there's more cops behind me. I don't know if something just happened. You never know. Somebody probably just got shot on the Kensington. That type of force, let me stay right here while the cop goes by. He turned his light off immediately. Rest in peace to my cousin Miriam and my uncle Eddie. This was their house right here on my left-hand side, located in the Kensington neighborhood. This cream house, the first one right here on my left. He passed away in the house. And then 6 months later, less than 6 months later, his daughter passed away, which was my cousin and my uncle. Sucked. I had to see my cousin laying down on the ground under a sheet. Had to see her lifeless. When Pop lifted up the sheet, I saw her face discolored, and it was like, you know, you never want to ever imagine that, especially when you remember Christmases together and Halloweens together and birthdays and stuff, and then not a happy sight. We're at B in Indiana. So this is the borderline, this block right here. Although Fairhill got its own rough rep, as you can see, as we drive into Fairhill, you got a lot of activity, you got a lot of people hanging out. This is a tough area. But this is also one of the ones where I told you that open air usage was accepted for a few years. You know, the residents can't do much about it if the dealers outnumber them to an extent. Well, technically, residents should outnumber the dealers, but the way they're out here normally with a heavy presence, right now, there's rarely any presence out here. Look at this corner, rarely any presence. So this lot right here on my left, or this park, is where they used to all shoot up at. There used to be a lot of people shooting up there, guys. Yeah, you would drive through here, look at another fire. You would drive through here back in the day and you would see people all laying along the side shooting up. Back in the day, as in less than 5-6 years ago. Not really that far ago, you know, it's still relatively recent. Rest in peace, Walt. I used to pick up Walt from this block right here. My boy Walt, my boy, passed away. I used to pick him up from this block. His sister used to live here. So I used to park right here on this corner and be like, yo, Walt, I'm here, bro. And he walk right here to this corner and hop in and we'd be out. Skirt, skirt. And I used to drop them all right here on this corner. Miss you, brother. Miss you. Think about you often. And I'm always thankful when you come visit me in my dreams. If you have never had a loved one visit you in your dreams, it's an awesome experience. I've been very fortunate where the first year alone when he left this earth, he visited me at least. Within the first 3 months, he visited me at least 11 times in my dreams. I don't know if that's because, like I said, he was my lifelong friend and I spent so much time with him that he was able to enter my dreams. I don't know if it was my subconscious thinking of him, but yeah, he even entered my dream like within the last week and a half, and it's crazy because his passing date, look at this, somebody sitting right there on the side. His passing date just passed. He passed away on November 7th. And that was like a week and a half ago. So, you know, for him to visit me in my dream, and it's always good feelings that he provides. I get hugs. You never realize how much you miss someone till you squeeze them really tight in a dream. You squeeze them really tight in a dream, hoping that you can bring them into the real world. You know how Freddy Krueger, you know how in the movie Freddy Krueger, there's 2 cop station on the right. You know how in the movie Freddy Krueger, oh, it's Thursday, today's raid day, jump out Thursdays. I bet, it makes sense why I see a million cops everywhere. Tuesdays and Thursdays are normally raid days. So there's usually a heavy presence on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Don't ask me why. I don't know who set up those days of the week. I don't know. It's just under my impression while I was growing up, I was always aware that Tuesdays and Thursdays was when they did raids. See this park over here on my left? This is the opposite side of the park, and this is also where a lot of people, look, there's a tent in there. People are living in there now. Yeah, there's two tents, three tents. And there's a sign right there that says City of Philadelphia regulation, no camping, with a picture of a tent with a cross going through it that says no camping. Yeah, there used to be a lot of people here too shooting up. And when I make this right, this factory, also they're repurposing it. Check it out. Go ahead. You're more than welcome to go because you was going to go anyway. You were going to go. You wasn't going to let me go. You wasn't going to be that nice happy camper, so I'm going to let you go. But right here on my left-hand side, you see the gigantic factory that they gated around it? You would come through here and few of my past videos. I've walked through here and I've did driving tours through here, another crater in the ground. You would come through here, you would see a bunch of people doped up right there. And now we are officially in the Fairhill neighborhood. Fairhill was one of the original neighborhoods that was coined the nickname Badlands. Yeah. There's several neighborhoods that can be categorized as part of the Badlands. But Fairhill, next to Glenwood, were some of the number 1 and 2 hoods that inspired the name Badlands. We're at the intersection of Front and Indiana, here in the Fairhill Badlands.